The question with Telegram platform is the way that they are dealing with the control of the administrators of the channels. We know for a long time now that Pavel Durov and more widely Telegrams refused to comply with the law and to make moderation, like efficient moderation. Consequently, you can find lots of people who are using Telegram for drug trafficking, terrorism, even money laundering and child abuse. So this is something that is already known. And there is another question. I mean, it's not the first time that Telegram is pointed out for the ways that they are dealing with moderation. Even with some country, we can add light of question if it was for real or just for marketing, let's say, a coup in a marketing point. And I am especially thinking to Russia, because maybe you remember that in 2018, Russia tried to put a control on Telegram, and at this time, Pavel Durov refused, and the Kremlin says that they didn't manage and they cannot came into the networks. This is something quite strange, because if you are looking in the more recent year, many other countries that are not that good like Russia is in IT technology succeed in blocking the channels. So in a way, maybe saying like, okay, we want him to comply with the Kremlin law, who is very restrictive because there is a lot of censorship. And they refused, we didn't. In a way, it is a big marketing coup, because everybody said, okay, even the Kremlin can't come into the encrypted social networks. So this is something which is a subject of question. I don't say that it was just for that, but many people are questioning themselves on the very reason of this action in 2018. And more recently, I don't know if you heard about that, but Vladimir Putin signed a lot of laws very quickly in order to impose a kind of regulation for Telegram, mainly the owners of channels that are grouping more than 10,000 followers have to give the information to Roskomnadzor, which is more or less the organization who is in charge of controlling all the medias and social networks. And if ever, and I mean, this law will be efficient in next November, and in next January, so January 2025, the administrators could be forced to restrict the use of some of their user, something like 24 hours after RKN or the FSB asked them. And in the same law, they are explaining that if you've got a channel who is followed by more than 500,000 packs, you had to give all the information on your users just if RKN or the FSB is asking it. So there is a kind of, not a control, but let's say a kind of more or less cooperation with the channels. And it has been seen in the very beginning of the summer. Telegram is a kind of, if it's not the main communication channel for the Russian army since the very beginning of the invasion of Ukraine. It's not just a news source, but it's a kind of key messenger that is used for coordination of action on different levels, to store video, to share large files, and all these kind of things. And you've got a lot of channels who are directly, more or less directly connected with the Kremlin or with the DoD, the Department of Defense of Russia. So we know that for the very beginning. So, you know, there is a lot of people who are using Telegram just because it's practical, not because of the encryption. But on another hand, it has been used in order to be efficient for criminal activity, as said, drug trafficking, child abuse, money laundering, terrorism, etc., etc. But also as a communication channel for the Kremlin and for the DoD. In that light, I don't know if it's interesting you more or less. But we observed that some fake OSINT channels have been created and have been directly connected with the Kremlin. So basically, some people on Telegram was explaining that they make kind of authentication of pictures of video concerning especially the Ukrainian field, war field, and it was just fake. So basically, they said, we are making open source intelligence. So we are checking all the facts, and they were making false fact checking. Fun fact, lots of them have been debunked by real OSINTer, who said, no, that didn't work. Because when you are doing OSINT, there are kind of rules, let's say the rule of the gangs. Basically, you have to use open source tools, meaning that you and I, if we want to redo what have been done in order to make an authentication, you can do it. And the way that the paths that these fake OSINTer were given didn't work. If you are looking, there is a lot of channels who are definitely pro-Russia and pro-Kremlin. So they can be like autonomous channels, you know, the liberty of speech, and you are free to believe in whatever you want. But lots of them were more or less connected to the Department of Defense or to the Kremlin, because some of the administrator was member of this kind of administration or could have been connected and linked to them. So we know it perfectly. It was more or less the same with Wagner private military company, who was formerly ruled by Yevgeny Prigozhin. And we are at the first birthday of his accidentally death this summer. So lots of channels are really carrying the ideas of the Kremlin. Of course, they are not the only one. You can find some of them, and you can find a lot of trolls on other social networks, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and many others. But in the case of Telegram, we can really see that they were using on. Another point, which may be interesting in that light, the arrestation of Durov may target ton cryptocurrency, which is used as a wallet by many large Russian business people. And if you are looking on the financial point of view and how Telegram is working, you can see that a huge part of the money of Telegram came from Russia, and you can find like other Russian oligarchs who are part of the activities of Telegram. So definitely there is a connection. The arrestation is directly connected with the fact that Pavel refused to cooperate with French authority, and especially for kids' child abuse, because remember, it's the office who is in charge of fighting against child abuse who request for his arrestation. But the authorities say that they will also inquire on the link with Russia, from Telegram with Russia. So basically, we'll see. The point is, and we can be pretty sure of that, that will have an impact and at least an interest. And of course, we won't wait a long time before hearing some voices from Russia yelling at the double standards of Westerners, because they are arresting Pavel Durov, and they will, used, and I said used with a specific ID, the freedom of speech. And that is quite interesting, knowing that they've got a very huge censorship in Russia. The arrestation is not motivated by something that could have been said and that is not under the law. And this is what is really interesting, and the French authority were very careful and very smart on that. They are arresting him because he didn't comply and he didn't collaborate with the authority. And when we are talking about child abuse, money laundering, or terrorism, we are talking about crime. We are not talking about freedom of speech. So we are not, let's say, boxing on the same ring.